If you would like to watch a dolphin presentation, head straight down that hallway on the left-hand side, part of those first two large windows. You are in for a treat. Now, swimming around behind me, we have Kyber and Rainier. These are two of our 4 bottlenose dolphins. And what we're going to be doing is a match to sample project with our dolphin location capabilities. Kind of learning a lot about how they visualize their environment and how that information is processed and utilized to help them navigate. There are so many things that we can learn about these animals by having them here, and the more information that you know about a dolphin, the better you're able to take care of it here, but also now we call this a match to sample paradigm. Matching to sample is something that you and I learned how to do at a very young age, and we use it every day in our lives now as well. So he's coming over here, making a selection. If you hear that, let's everybody over there. And even when today we use matching, if we go to the grocery store and buy something, you expect the contents on the inside of the package to match the delicious looking picture on the outside. Sometimes we're disappointed if it doesn't. And we wanted to know dolphins have that capability as well, and it turns out they do, and they're very good at it. So right now we just have some arbitrary shapes, but once we set up this game for him where he swims down to the first window and he takes a look at a sample, and then he swims over to the next window and he picks out what he thinks is the same, we learn all kinds of things about how they visualize their environment, if they can tell the difference between big, little, and small, if it's made up of the same surface area or the same pieces, can they tell the difference, if it's rotated, would they still know that it's the same object. So there's a lot of different things that we can learn. Once our dolphins are 80% or above on a task, then we can change it to ask a different question, or we can make it a little bit more difficult for them. Now Cassie, his trainer, is blowing away time that he's getting reinforced at the surface of the water. Bias or a side bias, which is where if Kyber comes down every single time, no matter what we show him on that left-hand window, if he picks this far side every single time, 33% of the time he's going to be correct. So that's not a bad strategy if you don't know what you're doing. But it's not the best strategy. It's not what we're looking for. Now we've also seen them have a strategy of an object bias. And that might be where he picks a favorite object, or we call it a favorite object. So every time he comes down here, he picks the ladder, no matter where that ladder is. We would call that an object bias. Once again, 33% of the time he's going to be correct. So that's not a bad strategy. It's not what we're looking for, but it also gives us some information, and it lets us know that he can tell the difference between the ladder and those other two objects. So he can make that differentiation between that particular object, and so that does give us some information. Now, we don't expect our dolphins to be 100%. It's absolutely okay if they don't get the answer correct. But let's see how he does. This will give him a big round of applause. When he comes over here and he does make an incorrect selection, that's absolutely okay. The lack of the whistle will let him know whatever you're using to match is not what we're asking. It's not what we're asking. Now, we are asking him to match the object as a whole. If he was looking at just a piece of the object, you will notice some of those pieces are the same throughout those objects. But that's not exactly the task we're asking him to do right now. So he's coming over here, he's making a selection, give him a big round of applause. Now you'll also notice that when he comes down here, he's blowing some bubbles. Now we want our dolphins to be able, they can look